Greetings, everyone. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to our third installment of Staying Clear Through Crisis, Confident Eagle Athletes. Of course, during these troubling times, we need you to all remain confident leaders that give 100% effort towards your academic excellence, and above all, stay resilient. As we do with all of our Staying Clear Through Crisis broadcasts, we will begin with our libation, which is for the purpose of uplifting and showing respect to those that have passed on, those that we hold in high regard, for the purpose of keeping us strong and keeping us focused, especially during difficult times. I will start with the libation again. As we know, as we always say, we start with using a snake plant, which represents rejuvenation and rebirth. The first libation I'd like to pour is for our brother, Ahmaud Arbery, who unfortunately lost his life in Georgia back in February at the hands of two individuals who targeted him for the color of his skin. And that certainly is a trial that we always deal with as young men. But I certainly want to pour a libation for him because today would have been his 26th birthday. And though those individuals were arrested, we as a community need to make sure that we stay on top of those responsible to ensure that they are convicted. But today, I did want to pour a libation to start for our brother, Mr. Arbery. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Secondly, I'd like to pour a libation for all of those individuals who have lost their lives during this COVID-19 crisis, those Eagle families who are struggling, those individuals out there who are dealing with the loss of a loved one. We want to pour libation and respect and honor to those. And as I always say, the greatest way to show respect and honor to those that have passed on is to dedicate our daily lives to them. I'd like to pour libation to those individuals. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Third, I'd like to pour libation for those essential workers who continue to go out there and sacrifice their lives every single day. Those grocery store workers, those police officers, those EMT workers, those hospital workers, your teachers, right, who give so much every single day to help support you, while at the same time supporting their own families. So during Teacher Appreciation Week in particular, we ashe, ashe, ashe. And last, I'd like to pour libation for our ancestors whose shoulders we stand on and who we can always look to as a source of inspiration, as they have overcome and overcame so many more obstacles than we currently do. Though they may seem like a mountain that we're climbing, it definitely is not a higher mountain than they are climbed and overcame. So we always need to keep them in mind as we move every single day. To our ancestors, we say, ashe, ashe, ashe. All right. Welcome, gentlemen, again. Thank you so much for joining us for this third installment of Staying Clear Through Crisis. Confident Eagle Athletes. We have so many young men that are listening who attend Eagle, who aspire to achieve athletic fame, in which all of you have. And I'm so glad that you are joining us today to give some insight and advice on how they can achieve the same milestones that you all have. But I'll begin by introducing our panelists first. We have Mr. Jason Darbuz from Eagle Queens, class of 2020, varsity basketball player. He is a swingman, small forward, scorer extraordinaire. I'll give him an opportunity to give you some insight on what he's been able to accomplish throughout this interview. Secondly, we have Mr. Ihsan Jackson from Eagle Newark, class of 2020 as well, track and field star, right, who's been able to lead his team with a number of victories. And in a second, I'll give you a chance to inform the audience of that. Mr. Jackson, thank you so much for joining us. And third, Mr. Timmy Tope Ajiratutu, senior from Eagle Queens, class of 2020, football player extraordinaire, who is taking his talents to Villanova in the fall. And I know that you've had some accomplishments that you'd like to mention. And then last, thank you for joining us, Mr. Kevin Williams, Coach Kevin Williams from Eagle Queens, who is not only the head varsity football coach, but is also an educator at the school. And thank you so much for joining us to provide some insight to our young men as well. So, Mr. Darbouz, before we jump into the questions, could you just inform the audience of some of the accomplishments that you've achieved on the basketball court, as well as your team?
Our team, since my freshman year, we've won our regional championship. So basically, it's like for all the teams in our conference, we have the best record since my freshman and sophomore year, and we achieved it this year, also my senior year.
That's outstanding. So you've been a varsity player since your freshman year? Okay, outstanding. Brother Jackson, now I know that when you filled me in on the accomplishments of the Newark team, I almost said that's too much to even write down. So please fill the audience in on the accomplishments of the Eagle Academy Newark track and field team.
I got you. So I've been into track and field and cross country since my freshman year in high school. We finally established our first year of track and field my sophomore year, and up until then, we have did and overcame lots and tough challenges. Recently, last year, the class of 2019, they graduated, so I was the one who had to step up to the plate and become a captain. And I walked in and did exactly what I said I was going to do. I led my team to, and this is historic in our school because this is the first year this has ever happened. I led my team our first year winning the Newark Public Schools Championship in cross country, shutting out all 13 Newark Public Schools across the city. And I also we was undefeated in our conference. We won the SEC Super Essex conference when we raced everyone in Essex County. And we also, our ratio was 13-0. We was undefeated. We raced for 5 weeks straight and beat every race every Tuesday and Thursday. And we also won a plaque for that as well.
Oh, I'd say we got to give it up for that, brother. We got to give it up for that. That's amazing. And not only am I impressed with the accomplishments, but being a trailblazer is so important, right? You know, I've been with Eagle Academy now 16 years. I'm fortunate enough to have been with Eagle since 2004. And so I understand what it is to be a part of something where it's never existed before. And so my hat goes off to you and your brothers, right, for laying that groundwork and establishing that legacies for the younger brothers coming behind you. And so that when they know and to get to the varsity level to take it serious, because it was hard work laid and a foundation laid for them to step into. So congratulations. Brother Timmy.
Yes, sir.
Football player, like I said, headed to Villanova. What are some of the accomplishments that you and your teammates have experienced over your years being involved with the team?
Over the past 4 years, I've been a starter since freshman year, 3-year captain from sophomore year. We won a city championship in 2016. I've been all-city, all-state 2 years in a row. Got selected for the Boomer game, you know, and I'm headed to Villanova. Had a couple offers, and I'm going to Philly.
Going to Philly. That's what's up. Sometimes the narrative out there paints young brothers as not doing the things that you guys are doing. And Brother Jackson, let me just double back to you real quick. Where are you headed to in the fall?
I'm heading to Virginia State University.
Virginia State University, and I know, Brother Darbouz, you haven't made your final selection yet, but you're down to your final choices. Could you share with the audience the schools that you're considering?
Considering Morgan State, St. Francis Brooklyn, Virginia State also, a few others. Those are the main three.
Okay, those are the main three. It's great to have choices. And Brother Williams, after hearing these guys, I know my face feels like it's gonna crack the way I'm smiling, right? But I'm just overwhelmed with the joy that I'm feeling right now because of the things that I'm hearing. But Coach Williams, could you just inform the audience on just some of your accomplishments as a coach? Because again, as Brother Jackson stated, he was a trailblazer, right? He was a part of a program. He established a program that didn't exist before. And I know you've put in a lot of work to do the same thing at Eagle Queens. Because if you could just fill in the audience on some of your accomplishments, and as well, what is it that you teach at Eagle?
Thank you. Thank you for the platform. Young man, I'm very proud of all of you and your accomplishments. As an educator at Eagle, Queens, Southeast Queens, we have developed a program. I'm actually the founding football coach at Eagle Queens. We started that program in 2016, actually 2015. The process took a long time, but in that time frame, we have developed several college athletes, Timmy being the first Division I athlete. Prior to that, I was working with a program in another state. So the founding principal, Principal Reed, asked me to start this program here. And it's the greatest job I've ever had. I actually teach business at Eagles Southeast Queens. So business and financial literacy is what I teach there to 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Again, great panel we have here. I'll jump right into the questions. I will start with you, Brother Darbouz. It's interesting, right? Because so many young men, they might see a Steph Curry on TV or, great basketball player or, track star, on the Olympics, right? And they may not understand how much work it actually took to get to that, right? You'll see somebody hit a last winning shot, but I think sometimes when we watch on our couch, what we don't understand is they've practiced that last second shot over and over again, right? And they'll say that. But that leads to my first question. When did you start playing your respective sport, and how much practice time have you invested in refining your skills? And how does that impact your confidence level?
I've been playing basketball since third grade. Since third grade, I loved it. I've been tall since third grade also. So, I've been using that as my advantage. I've 6 days a week, I'm grinding 6 days a week, working on my body, working on my skills. And it boosts my confidence, because when you do things over and over, you're for sure good at, And so my confidence level on the court is very high. Yeah.
Okay, great. Brother Jackson?
I've been doing this since my freshman year, but our team, we actually started like racing and stuff. I was one of the founding members actually of my track team myself. We actually started my sophomore year. And people really don't understand how hard it has took, because I've lost like a whole season my last year because it was just something as simple as staying on your toes. And it went to the point where I wanted to take myself off the team. But sure enough, God said, no, stay on the team. You have the potential. And sure enough, in track and field 2019, I believe last year, it was the last event of the day, and we won it.
Okay, so that's confidence and resilience.
Yeah.
Right. And again, so I'm hearing that theme of just the time commitment it takes. Brother Timmy, how about you?
I've put in tremendous amount of time into perfecting my craft. Whether it's going to the field by myself or going with some teammates, always make sure I was doing something, running home, running to school in the morning, always doing something to keep busy. Even played basketball for my last season at Eagle. I'm just grateful I got to do it before the whole Corona situation. But even though it's unfortunate, I'm always doing something to keep me focused, keep me busy. I'm watching film, learning plays. Even though I'm redshirting this year, I'm ready to step on the field if they need me to.
Mm-hmm.
Can I also add something in?
Absolutely, brother.
Because I went a little bit off topic. So I'm actually booked all year round. I run cross country, indoor track and field, and outdoor track and field. So basically we have practice 5 days, Monday through Friday. Well, actually, no, Monday through Thursday. We rest on Friday, and then we have a meet Saturday, which is basically, so we're active 6 days out of the weekend. So, and then between mid-season, we have like a week, 2 weeks break, and then we right back at it like that. So I'm constantly active. Even if when I'm at school and we don't have practice, I still take my laps because I live right down the street from a park. So, I go take my laps and do what I got to do to stay active and fit.
Okay. All right. Again, that time commitment is key. What makes a person confident is that they've put in the practice time. And so, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. Right. And there's a book I'm going to suggest to you guys. It's called Outliers. And Outliers is about it's a book It's a compilation book where it talks about the stories of a whole lot of individuals who have reached the pinnacle of success. And they all have something, and they follow this rule. It's called the 10,000 hour rule. And basically what that says is you have to put in at least 10,000 hours of prep time in order to be considered an expert in anything. So all these professional athletes that we see, any person in any industry, whether it be a teacher, whether it be an athlete, whether it be an actor, whether it be a scientist, they put in 10,000 hours of prep work before they've reached that level of success. So I think that's important. I really, really appreciate you guys sharing that. But with so much time invested in crafting, like you say, you're basically crafting your sport, crafting your talent. And this question, I'm gonna start with you, Timmy. How do you deal with balancing your academic responsibilities along with what is required to be a standout in the sport you play? How much time do you dedicate towards your studies daily?
Okay, so in the word student athlete, student comes before athlete. So you have to remember that if your grades is not right, there's no way you're going to possibly succeed in your field of play. So the smartest players are usually the best players. So if I'm great in school, I'm going to be great on the field too. I kept that same attitude throughout the 4 years, going to study hall, even though I didn't feel like waking up, or waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning to finish homework that I didn't finish, knowing that is by fire, by force. If I don't do it, then I'm going to suffer. Coming home with an 85 average wasn't good enough, you know, so I had to push myself and dig deep.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely right. When these colleges come knocking on your door, right, you want to make sure that you're in a position to receive that scholarship. So again, brother, applaud you for the hard work that you've put in. And brother Jackson, how about you?
Yes. Like he said, the word student comes before athlete. And my academics, I always put my academics before my athletics, because in order to be a great athlete, you have to have your grades on par. Because if not, then you can't compete. I put equal work into both because they help one another. It's like a seesaw. They go up and down. We have study hall every day before practice from 3 o'clock to 4, and then 4 to 6 for practice. And yes, like you said, you know, you got to hustle. And it's not just because, and first key is time management. You can't do anything without time management. So you got to figure out, and like you said, I stay up till 4 sometimes in the morning to best prepare myself for real life and college and for further out lifelong, you know.
And it's interesting, I referred to this book, Outliers. And again, I highly suggest that you read it. You know, that's the definition of an outlier. It's someone who stands out amongst a group of people because they put in that extra time, work, and energy to stand out. So great job. Brother Darboose, do you have anything to add to that? How much time do you put in daily with your academics?
Daily, on Google Classroom, there's so much work I got to get done. So daily, I have to at least put in 2 hours trying to get in as much work as possible to stay on top of that. But I really balance my responsibility of athletic and academics by like trying to cut off distractions, you know, because distractions is what lead to you losing focus on what really matters. So like distractions such as, you know, texting friends, video games, stuff like that. Those distractions I have to put to the side in order to focus on those main 2 components.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, right? Because I can say how much time do you put in studying, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're studying the right way, right? Like, you know, I played basketball, right? And I remember, right, when you shoot a jump shot, the coach tells you make sure there's rotation on the ball. You have to position your hands the right way. So I can go out and practice for 3 hours, but if I'm not using the proper technique, then I won't be fruitful in my efforts. So thank you for that, right? When you guys are studying, when you guys out there are putting in time to prepare yourselves academically, make sure you're doing it the right way. Any other suggestions around study habits you guys want to add? I know Jason said make sure you're in a quiet place, turn off your phones. Is there anything anybody else wanted to add?
Even make your own schedule. Make your own schedule to, you know, so it doesn't interfere or overlap with anything else that you have to get done, because people have other priorities, you know, besides school and athletics and stuff like that. So I would say plan your own schedule to keep yourself on track and keep your mind focused. And like you said, cut off all distractions and things of that sort.
Right, right. Okay. Next question. I'm going to turn to you, Coach, because we've talked about talent and we've talked about academics. And as you said, you've been involved with a number of student athletes that have gone on to the collegiate level. So my question for you, and hopefully you can share with the audience, what are some things that college coaches look for when they are recruiting players? What about off the court field qualities or field qualities? What do they look for?
Well, that's a great question. The first thing, I can tell I'm talking on a panel with Division I athletes because they have the right skill set. That skill set that a coach is looking for is one that is self-sufficient. They do not want to bring a child onto a man's campus and have to raise them. They want young men who can handle their own situations responsibly and create their own work ethic so that the game becomes secondary. I've told my players, and I will tell many others, the high school coach will be the last coach that will care about your feelings. The college coach cares about his mortgage because he is paid for wins. This is a give and take relationship. So you should be getting everything that you expect: a quality education, a safe place to play, and an opportunity to fulfill whatever destiny you've created for yourself, because it is something you have earned. So when a college recruiter comes to campus, the first thing he is looking for is your coach, then your teachers, before they speak to you. Because the credibility of your character will far exceed your athletic ability.
Yep.
So once he understands the type of person you have made your fame from, then he will know if it makes sense, job on the line, to make you that full offer. So that is a very big thing to consider for anyone who wants to be or strive to be a scholar athlete. I say this, and I think it's very important for you to hear me. There are less than 4% of Division I and Division II athletes from the athlete pool of high school. Less than 4% are selected for a full scholarship. 20% of students with a 90 or above average can receive a full scholarship. A student athlete knows that, so they're prepared for both.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Coach, right? You need to be, and I know all of the panelists have already expressed this, you need to be as disciplined on the field, off the field. You need to be equally as disciplined in the classroom, right? Because again, when these college coaches come to your school, to your high schools, as Coach said, they're looking at you as an investment, right? And so if they're going to invest all this money on you, the first thing they look for is your character, because there's going to be tough times. And I know that, like Brother Jackson, you expressed that, right? How during your career you had a little downtime and you had to fight back. And as you guys go off to the collegiate level and you play your respective sports, there will be obstacles. But that foundation that you've laid for yourselves will get you through those tough times. And so, and that is what will take you to the next level. Thank you for that, Coach. I'm going to swing it back to the students. And Brother Timmy, I'm gonna start with you again, right? It's important to be involved in other things besides the sports that each of you play. What do you do outside of the sport to unwind? And what are your interests outside of a particular sport?
Okay, so that's more of a difficult question because when you take a sport serious, it becomes almost your everything. But if you don't have a balance between whatever sport you play and your individual life, then you're gonna crash. So I have family life. I have God, most importantly. And I have siblings who back me up. I have friends who are very supportive. I'm a very outgoing person, very social. But I'm a regular person. Like, I like watching Netflix. I like watching TV shows, but I know how to manage my time. So, that's what it comes to at the end of the day.
Brother Jason, do you have anything that you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I'm a music guy. I love listening to all type of music, 90s, 2000s, doesn't matter. I can listen to it all. The music, I really love music. I'm also into fashion. So like, Jordan, sneaker Jordan, I'm always up to date with that. So I always check back which Jordans is coming out, which Supreme shirt is popular. I'm always into stuff like that.
Right. Okay. So again, it's not all the sport. You got to have that balance, and you never know, brother. You might have a shoe deal one day. You never know. Right? You got to think big. That's what Eagles do. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ihsan, how about you, brother? What do you do for your downtime?
For my downtime, I'm a very, very, very busy person. I'm either working, making that money, or I'm either, out everywhere. I'm almost never in the house. I'm I'm either in New York, I'm in Plainfield, Great Adventures, the beach. I'm always somewhere, just having fun, having fun with my time because I believe I work hard for it, So why not have fun? Another reason why I say that is because look what happened. Now I'm stuck in the house. So.
You're right. So if you didn't have anything else you were doing, you'd really be going crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I have a question later on about how you guys are able to maintain that. But again, it's very important to be well-rounded, to be a good academic student, to have great social skills, as well as invest in the time that you do into your sports. And Coach, I think you made a great point when you mentioned earlier, when you talked about when you mentioned the academic side, how it's actually easier for you to get an academic scholarship than it is an athletic scholarship. And like I always say to young brothers, you'll never sprain your brain from studying too hard, right? But every time you step on that field of that court, you do risk an injury, right? And so you got to have academics as a backup. So Ihsan, next question, I'm going to start with you. How has the college recruitment process been for you? I know you said you're going to Virginia State, and I'm assuming that you are running track for them. But if you could just talk to the young men in the audience about how that college recruitment process has been for you, and what are some things that guys should be doing during the off season to help their recruitment? Because again, as you said, this is a year-round thing, and if you want to get that eventual goal, there's things you have to do all year round. So if you could just talk about those two things, that'd be great.
I got you. All right. So first, I'm gonna start with the second thing is what you do in the off season. During the off season, because I'm attending a D2 school, you have to work hard because I'm telling you, it is a lot of competition out there. And like he said, the coach, he ain't worried about your feelings. He's worried about winning. So in order to achieve what you need to achieve and get done what you need to get done, you need to hustle. You need to hustle and get done everything that you need to get done. You need to work hard, train hard during the off season. So when it's time for the season to start, you can be on beat, if not better than most of the people that's on the team. Now let me get to the other question, which was I forgot. I done got some.
It was the recruitment process. How was that for you?
Now the recruitment process is pretty good because actually I have gotten in touch with the coach back in October when we went down there for homecoming, and he introduced us. We was in his his suite chilling. He was talking to us, telling us if we get our GPA to this, then the next we get a full ride to the school. So we did that, and we talking. He was asking me what I run, what's my times and stuff. He said, "Okay, you're a pretty decent kid." So right now, like as we speak, I'm talking to the coach. And he's asking me, just to give it a reminder because it was so long ago what I run. He says he's going to talk to get me on the team as we speak now. So I'm very grateful for that.
Okay, great. Brother Darbouz, how about you?
Yeah, the recruitment process has been real eye-opening to like how competitive the real world is, because everybody wants what I want. I'm not the only person who's interested to be on a spot on the team. I've been fortunate to be recruited by a 2-year school, which is Erie Community College. It's upstate. I'm weighing out my options. I really want to go to a 4-year school. I have other plans besides basketball, but I'm really fortunate for what I have done in Eagle Academy for my 4 years. For anybody who wants to be recruited, like I recommend try to study your SAT, bring up that SAT scores, get as best of grades as you can in the classroom, continue to work hard, very hard to be noticed. You know, when hard work doesn't get unnoticed. So the more you work, you know, the more opportunity you get to be where you want to go.
And what about during the off season, right? I know with basketball, you can't just go to the park and play and think you're going to get better. What are some things guys need to be doing?
Also, you got to get that body up, you know, and college is me personally, when if I decide to go to Erie and play basketball, I want to transform my body because I feel like I'm a little too light. I want to be able to be a lot stronger. Also, in any sport, you have to be you're smarter. You have to make good decisions on the court or on the football court. So try to process better decisions when you're on the field or court.
And Brother Timmy.
Yes, sir.
How about you, sir?
During my recruitment process, I was living the life. Going to, yeah, I was, my coach could testament to this. It was like a new school every weekend. And it was just a wonderful experience going to UPenn, Stony Brook, Villanova, Monmouth, going to University of New Hampshire, just looking at all these campuses like, wow, there's a whole new life up here. It's just like, it made it much harder when it came to making a decision, but it really showed how much work that I put in that I'm able to say I'm at a comfortable place where I can choose the schools. You know, actually, I was at a place where it said, these schools are choosing me and it's up to me to decide what school I wanted to go to. So for me, I just chose the school with the most money and with the best educational, you know, with the best education, and that's how I made my choice. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And for our aspiring football players out there, what would you suggest they do during the off season so that they better their chances of getting that scholarship?
Well, if you're a football player, with everything you do, should learn to time manage. Your SAT score is very important. So if you get an SAT book and study, once you get past 1,000, which that shouldn't be a goal, but once you're in the clear of 1,000 and you maintain an 85 average, you're in the clear. And if you're a football athlete, you should be doing push-ups every day. You should be stretching every day. There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing anything. You know, every day that you don't do something, there's somebody who's doing those things to get them a scholarship. You're competing against the whole United States of America. You're not competing against just people in New York. So, yeah.
No, you're right. And that actually is a good segue into like what guys can be doing now, right? Like, unfortunately, because of this crisis we're dealing with, we may not be able to go to the gym. We might not be able to go to the basketball court, but there's certainly things that people can be doing right now, every single day in their homes to stay sharp and stay on point and stay ready when things kind of go back to some sense of normalcy. Is there any other things anybody else would want to add in terms of what guys can do? I know Timmy mentioned push-ups, calisthenics. Is there anything anybody else is doing to keep themselves in shape they want to share?
I jump rope a lot. So I jump roping. Yeah, I've been in my driveway jump roping. It's pretty fun, honestly. Yeah, I jump rope a lot.
Yeah, I would suggest that too, because jumping rope, that helps build your stamina, right? Sometimes when you're not playing your sport, you sit at home and you can do push-ups every single day, but when you get back on that court, you might find yourself out of breath, right? Not as, you know, as sharp as you were as far as your stamina. So jumping rope is a great suggestion. Coach, you had something to add?
I would also like to say that it's a very good time to study film. If you are someone, regardless of your sport, there is something, whether that be the release on your jump shot, your rocket step, your get off on your sprints, your balance. These things are very important because, believe it or not, that is what the recruiters are looking at, because they want to make notes in what they have to make you even better when you get there. They want to know how that looks now, and you can take advantage of that and be ahead of the game.
All right, great suggestions. All right, so guys, so I know at Eagle Academies, we have house icons. So we have individuals where, that are there to provide a sense of guidance, give you an example of positive men of color that you can pattern your behavior after. And many of those house icons are athletes, right? And we have different icons at different schools. So I've actually selected some quotes from some house icons. I want to ask you what the quote means to you. And so, Timmy.
Yes, sir.
You all right there, brother?
Yeah.
You've been doing so many push-ups, you're yawning. But I have a question for you. First of all, what are the houses at Eagle Queens?
There's Colin Kaepernick, Cesar Chavez.
Sorry, guys. On my computer. Continue, Timmy.
I don't even know.
Brother Darboos, how about you? Who are the house icons at Eagle Queens?
I know there's Cesar Chavez, Obama. There's Obama House, Colin Kaepernick House. There's more. I remember freshman year there was a lot. They switched it year to year, so it's hard to remember. But
the Boys House,
yeah,
right?
Ali,
right? Ali House, right? So Timmy, at Queens there's a Kaepernick House,
yes.
And so being an athlete, it can provide a platform to address social issues and inequalities. In fact, we come from a long line of athletes of color who had to be confident leaders who gave 100% effort towards their craft and towards standing up towards for injustices. So please explain what the quote means from Colin Kaepernick. I have one for you. With or without the NFL's platform, I will continue to work for the people because my platform is the people. What does that quote mean from you, from Colin Kaepernick?
So with that quote, Colin Kaepernick is saying that the people are his inspiration, and he's going to continue to work for them because he doesn't owe any organization like the NFL anything. His main objective is to give us a voice, and he gets his voice from us. So that's why he says the people is his platform.
Mm-hmm. And again, being an athlete, it provides you with a platform that maybe someone else may not have, right? Because, as a sports star, as someone who stands out in sports, and with so many people tuning in to watch you, your voice carries a lot of weight. And so a brother like Colin Kaepernick sacrificed his career so that he could voice and give voice to injustices for us all. So thank you for that interpretation. Brother Jackson, at Eagle Staten Island, they have a Jesse Owens house. And for those that may not know, Jesse Owens was a track and field star, ran in the Olympics, actually defied Adolf Hitler's theory, right? That the Germans were the superhuman race in the way he competed during those Olympics. So I have a quote for you from Jesse Owens, and if you could please tell me what your interpretation of this is. The only victory that counts is the one against yourself.
I just want to elaborate on that because I have experienced that, and along with my team a bunch of times. Basically, what he meant when he said that is you can basically lose yourself trying to keep up with somebody else. Run your own race. You're not competing. You are competing against other people, but the main competitor that you're looking for at besting is yourself. You want to be better than how you was yesterday. You can literally cost yourself your whole dream career trying to keep up and best, trying to keep up with the Jonases. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody come from different standards of life. You can't walk in as a caterpillar and expect to compare to the butterflies. You got to blossom. So you got to compare your old self, how you was yesterday, to yourself today. And I honestly respect that quote, and I keep it on my wall, actually, in the room.
Right. The best form of discipline is self-discipline.
Yeah.
Oh, you're absolutely right. So when we talk about being the masters of our fate, captains of our soul, that quote embodies that so much. And Brother Jason, we don't have any basketball players as house icons, but I'm going to go to someone from your school, the late, great Muhammad Ali, right? And he had this quote that I like to hear your interpretation on. He said, "Don't count the days, make the days count."
What that means is every day that you have, don't worry about focus on what you could change now. Focus on preparing your future. Don't focus on the next day or the day after the next. Focus on preparing the next day or the day after the next.
Right, exactly, right. Don't get stuck in a situation where you're being a pessimist, right? But be optimistic and make every day count and use every day towards what it is that you want to succeed. All right. So great answers, guys. One last question for you. With it being Teacher Appreciation Week, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this question, and I'll start with Brother Jason with this question. Being academically strong often requires a student to take advantage of all of the resources available to them, including assistance from teachers and staff. Who are some of the educators that you had while at Eagle that have been instrumental in your academic and athletic success?
The first person that comes to mind is Mr. Glenn Ford. That's been my varsity coach since freshman year, sophomore year, and this year, my senior year. He really taught me the in and out. For 4 years, he's been so hard on me. He's been strict, and that's all just to mold me and to be prepared for what's coming next. It's not to bring me down. It's just to let me know that you're growing and you need to become stronger and stuff like that. So I just appreciate Mr. Ford.
Okay. Brother Timmy, how about you? What teachers and staff have been instrumental? I know you got Coach Williams, and he's been beyond instrumental. Is there anyone else that has been instrumental for you? Any other teachers?
It's kind of hard for me to choose a specific teachers because collectively all of them have helped me become a better person. But if I was to choose one, it would be Miss Curtis, because she is such a strong woman, and she pushes us to a whole new level, levels that we don't think we can go. So she's kind of like a coach in a way, So yeah.
Shout out to Miss Curtis. Brother Jason, it looked like you agree with that. Look like you agree. And Ihsan, how about you, brother? Who are the educators out in Newark that have been holding you down?
There's a couple. But the first person that comes to my mind is brother, my coach, mentor, father figure in my life, Coach Clark. He has transformed my life tremendously throughout my 4 years of high school. Because originally, I'm like 5. I was like 5'4". I came in talking about something. I want to play football. I'm all scrawny. And he was the track coach. He was like, "You want to play football? You mad small." And this, that, and the next. And look how it turned out. I'm a leader on my team and stuff like that. So I honestly want to thank him because he's everything a son with no father would want. And I also want to thank my principal, Simone Morant, also the academics, my dean, Mr. Abdullah, guidance counselor, Ms. Hall, Ms. Kennard as well, who help transform me into, who I am today. So
that's what's up. That's what's up. And again, shout out to all of the teachers. Again, as you mentioned, Principal Morant, Principal Hall, all of the principals across the network. You have teachers that care so much about you. And though it's Teacher Appreciation Week, you should appreciate them all the time, right? And let them know that you value the contribution they give to you. And they're so proud. I'm sure if they're watching, they're tuning in and they're proud of what it is that they see, the young men that they've helped produce. And thank you to you as well, Coach Williams. I know you're a coach and a teacher, and you help so many young men, brother. And so my hat goes off to you as well. So before we close out, I know that we've acknowledged you all for your contribution and what you've been able to do on the field, off the field, on the court, off the court. But there are some other young men that I like to acknowledge who also have been Eagle clear and confident student athletes over the course of the year. So from Eagle Staten Island, the following basketball players were asked to be recognized. We have Mr. Tahir Mark, Terrell Littman, Quincy Baker, Kareem Alcazar, Abu Bakr El Chafa, and Tyzel Peak. These are all young men who play on the basketball team, but exemplify every element of C.L.E.A.R. Their daily activities. From Eagle Newark, we have a couple other basketball players, Makai Fields and Emmanuel Belazaire. And I see you with the little shimmy for them over there, Ihsan, right? And I know those young men, and I know that they grind and put in the effort on the court. But I know they started a peer mentoring program where they're connected with younger students and just being an example for them. So again, when we talk about doing things on the court and off the court, they certainly exemplify that. From Eagle Brooklyn, we have some football players. I know Coach Williams, you've had a friendly rivalry with Eagle Brooklyn over
all
the
day.
and they also celebrated winning a city championship. They wanted to recognize Mr. John Washington, who is currently playing at Wilkes University, Anthony Subrian, who's at Alfred University, and Mr. Abdul Ba, who I know very well. He's currently playing at the University of Rochester. So big ups to those young men. They also have some young brothers who are playing next year at American International. And those young men are Savion Johnson, Tamel Paris, and Truvon Lewis are headed to American International. And we have Latrell Palmer, who's headed to Curry State. Those football players from Eagle Brooklyn. They also have a young man who was honored to be named All-State in basketball, and that is Mr. Zaire Williams, who is, I believe, in the 11th grade. And so he'll be back next year, and I know they're looking for big things from him. Our Harlem School, not sure if you guys are aware, but our Harlem School has an outstanding golf program. So you talk about being trailblazers and doing things that some may think that as young brothers of color, right, that we don't do. They have an outstanding golf program, and they wanted to recognize Antonio Corderell and Juan Corderell for their accomplishments on the golf course over the past few years. Mr. Dante Payne, outstanding scholar athlete on the baseball diamond, and Mr. Joshua Cabrera, who is not only a baseball player, but he is also a boxer, right? So big ups to him. Let's shift to our Bronx School. Our Bronx School, I don't know if you guys are aware, but we had a basketball player from Eagle Bronx, Brother Jason. He led the PSAL in scoring. Mr. DeMarco Watson, he averaged 33 points a game, and he made second team All-State. So hats go off to Mr. Watson. We also have a brother named Vernon Simmons, who made the 15th team All-State from Eagle Bronx. We have a couple wrestlers. We have an outstanding wrestling program at Eagle Bronx. They've been the city the Bronx Borough title winners, for the past, I think, 5, 6, 7 years. Coach McGarry does an outstanding job with them, but he wanted us to recognize Mr. Hector Rodriguez, who placed third in New York State in wrestling, and Mr. Cameron Mayfield, who placed eighth in New York State wrestling tournament. So those two young men, again, smashing those stereotypes, doing great things. And last but not least, I want to swing it back to Queens, to the Queens School, and I'm sure you guys know these young men. Mr. Ford wanted me to recognize Mr. Ronaldino Simpson, who was a standout basketball player, Mr. Jamoy Stevens, who he says was most improved player this year. The best defensive player was Mr. Siaka Kamara, who he wanted to recognize, and the best student athlete on the Queens basketball team with an 87 average, he said, with Mr. Jamie Sterling. So shout out to all of those young men for representing Eagle the right way and being those scholar athletes, right, that represent us well. And Brother Timmy, there is a football player that's also taking his talents to the collegiate level, Mr. Denzel Jackson, who is a cornerback, and he's taking his talents to Assumption College next year. And so, again, I applaud all of those young men for doing what it is that you do, for being an example to the younger guys behind you, because I think that's one of the most powerful things that you can do, is that you set an example for them so that they know that what it is that they would like to do is possible. So again, congratulations to all of you. Just a couple other shout outs that I want to give before we close out. I'd like to shout out my nephew, Mr. Jordan Myers, right, who turned 15 the other day, right? And I know you guys are basically almost grown and headed off to college, but, you know, turning 15 is a milestone. And so I want to wish him happy birthday as he, you know, works towards his success. And I also would like to acknowledge the birthday of little Miss Nomi J. Banks, who is a new addition to Mr. Banks's family. She is his second granddaughter, and she was born the other day, and I know he was beaming for joy. So I wanted to give both of them a birthday shout out, as well as Mother's Day shout out to all of those mothers out there and all of those mother figures that hold us down and make sure that we stay straight and make sure that we stay focused. We love you. We celebrate you 365 days a year, but certainly wanted to acknowledge that, being that it's Mother's Day weekend. All right, guys, so we are going to close out, which we traditionally do, with reciting the poem Invictus. Again, for those that may not be aware, we recite this poem Invictus as a source of inspiration and as a source of staying resilient through tough times. And as all of our athletes expressed today, they all have had their levels of difficulty and hard times that they had to overcome. But reciting this poem daily gives them the energy and it gives them the spirit to fight on. So, gentlemen, we're going to close out. Let's make it strong. Let's make it inspirational. Invictus straight.
Out of the night that covers me. Black as a pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever guys may be for my unconquerable soul.
And the fell clutch of circumstance, I'm not with no crowd aloud. Under the bludgeonings and chest, my head is bloody, but I'm bowed.
Beyond this place of wrath and tears, looms but the horde is shade. And yet the minister of the years finds and shall find me unafraid.
It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
I'm the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
We are the masters of our fate, captains of our soul. Thank you so much, brothers, for this fantastic episode. I hope the listeners got a lot out of it. There was a lot of jewels dropped. Please join us next Friday for our next installment of Staying Clear Through Crisis, 3:30 p.m. on our Facebook Live, Instagram TV, and YouTube channels. Be sure to follow us on those platforms as well. Hashtag EAFNYC, hashtag mentoring is the key. Thank you so much, brothers. Have a fantastic weekend. I love you, and take care. Greetings, family. Please join us on Friday, May 22nd, 3:30 p.m. for the next installment of our Staying Clear Through Crisis series, where I will be joined by 4 young men who are part of the inaugural graduating class at Eagle Harlem. They will share with us the amount of effort that they've put in during their Eagle journey to ensure that they are leaving a lasting legacy for their younger brothers to follow. Again, please join us on Friday, May 22nd, 3:30 p.m. on our Facebook page, IGTV channel, and YouTube channel to hear how your brothers from Eagle Harlem are remaining Eagle clear. Continue to be those confident leaders that give 100% effort towards your academic excellence and, of course, always are staying resilient. Have a great week, gentlemen, and I'll see you then. Take care.